Dear children, I invite you for individual conversion. This time is for you. Without you, God's plan cannot be realized.
One of the most powerful messages of Our Lady of Medjugorje is the message of fasting. She calls us to fast. Initially, she asked the people to fast on Fridays and then also added Wednesdays on bread and water. This goes back to an ancient Christian spirituality. In the early Christian writing, the Didache, which is based on the teachings of the 12 apostles, it tells us that the early Christians fasted Wednesdays and Fridays on bread and water. Wednesdays, because that is traditionally acknowledged as the day when Jesus was betrayed by Judas. And Friday, of course, speaking to the Lord's great passion, to his crucifixion, to his death for us. And with fasting, there is such a power. The gospel tells us certain demons can only be exorcised through prayer and fasting. When I think of fasting, I think of three essential I's of fasting: intercession, intimacy, and inner freedom. With intercession, we can offer our fasts for others. We can offer our fasts to bring graces into the lives of other people, loved ones in our lives, or intentions, maybe fasting for those who do not believe, those who are far from God, maybe fasting for the sick, those who are suffering, or the souls in purgatory for their purification. I remember when I started living the message, I remember that one message said from Our Lady, "Live my messages and you will see miracles. Do not, and I cannot help you." And I wanted to see miracles in my own life. One of the miracles that I wanted to see was in the relationship between my parents. My parents, unfortunately, have had a very struggling marriage. And one year they got into a big fight. And after this fight, they stopped speaking to each other. This lasted for weeks, then months, then a year, then numerous years. And I started fasting for them on bread and water, living Our Lady's spirituality, also praying for them. And it was just a couple months later where they started speaking to each other. I asked my mother, "How long has it been?" She said, 6 years. That's the kind of bondage that the enemy can bring upon a family, because the family is sacred and the enemy wants to bring division and disruption. But notice how this bondage, which lasted for years, the power of God destroyed just in a couple of months. Our Lady often says, "I need you. I need you." The fact that the Mother of God needs us, the fact that she needs our fasting, our sacrifices, our prayers, and that there can be a deeper release of graces from the cross through that participation on our part is such an honor. It also leads to an intimacy, the second I of fasting. When we fast, we say yes to the cross of Jesus Christ. He died for us. He suffered for us. He gave everything for us. And we must keep that in mind. Keep in mind his passion, how much he suffered for us when we give up foods, or when we give up television or the internet or whatever we are called to fast from. We are offering a sacrifice to the Lord. And in that sense, it becomes an act of love. Fasting isn't just an obligation that we should do resentfully. No, it's me saying, and it's you saying, "Lord Jesus, you died for me, therefore this day I can give up food for you, and I will offer that to you, that you may use it for graces." And in that sense, we are turning this act of sacrifice into an act of intimacy. It's relational. It brings us closer to Christ crucified and his Holy Mother. And the third I of fasting, inner transformation. Fasting changes us. The grace of God enters. When you allow yourself to deprive yourself of the physical needs, such as foods, then your spiritual senses come to life. When you offer that with prayer, and you become stronger, you become more detached. The church fathers, they said, if you're struggling with lust, fast, because they realized that with fasting, there is an inner purity that enters in that inner transformation. So when we say yes to that cross, even our physical senses, even our passions can become crucified, and we become freer human beings. Like the image of the Lord coming out of the temple, there is a resurrection of a new self. And in that sense, the invitation to fasting, brothers and sisters, it is not something to be looked at resentfully or as an obligation or something that takes away our freedom. It is actually bringing you deeper freedom. It is bringing you to a deeper relationship with God, and it is bringing you into your role as an intercessor who can help Jesus and Mary transform other lives, because you are offering your sacrifice in union with the cross of Jesus Christ. What an honor.